Ridiculous Crime is a production of iHeartRadio.
Zaron.
Elizabeth Dutton.
Zaron, how are you?
I'm doing well. How about you? How you doing?
Good, I'm good.
Yeah, you look all bushy-tailed.
I do. I'm very bushy-tailed. Do you want to know what's ridiculous?
I do want to know what's ridiculous, but I got something for you that's ridiculous before we get there, Elizabeth. Okay, this one involves a triangle of intensity. Yoko Ono, Salvador Dali, and John Lennon.
Oh.
Right? So John Lennon and Yoko, they were on their honeymoon in 1969, and they met Salvador Dali in Paris, and they had lunch with him at the Hotel Maurice, all right? And so they were all friendly. They hit it off. They're like, oh, that's cool, right? And, it was such like a kismet connection that Salvador Dali used to keep a photograph of John Lennon in his closet hanging on a coat hanger.
Okay.
Don't ask me why. Anyway, the point that I wanted to tell you that is the ridiculous part is that after John Lennon passed away, Yoko still stayed, somewhat friendly with Salvador Dali. And she asked him like, hey, I really would like to get hair from your mustache. And he's like, what? And so he's like, I just really want it. So Dali, he was like, I don't know. She seems kind of like a witch. Maybe she's going to do some voodoo stuff on me. So he didn't want to send one of his actual hairs because he was worried about her doing like some black magic on him. So he's like, how do I avoid the occult? I know. I'll just send her a blade of grass. So he had an assistant go out and pick a blade of grass and like age it and dry it. Mm-hmm. And then she's like, yeah, because she had promised him $10,000 for one of his like mustache hairs. And so he sent her a blade of grass in exchange for $10,000. And there you go, right? Salvador Dali, Yoko Ono, the $10,000 blade of grass.
I love it. That is ridiculous.
Right? I thought so.
Do you want to know what else is ridiculous?
Please, I would love to.
Stealing an album before it even comes out.
Oh.
This is Ridiculous Crime, a podcast about absurd and outrageous capers, heists, and cons. It's always 99% murder-free and 100% ridiculous.
I know you heard that.
Master tapes, master recordings. These are the original, first-generation, highest-quality recordings of a piece of music.
So like old-school reel-to-reel style.
Yes. And it's the final version, the one that includes all the edits and the mixing. And masters have the purest sound because that's like the originator.
Yeah.
And it's from these tapes that all copies are made.
So they're coming out of the board once they have it all like mastered. They record a tape.
Yeah.
And then they're like, okay, print CDs or whatever else you want from this.
All the broadcast copies, the safety copies, the production masters. Okay. Yeah. So they're really valuable.
I bet.
And most of the time they're kept in vaults.
Like actual vaults.
For ages, they were like real, like you said, reel-to-reel analog tape.
Yeah.
Now there's like digital Pro Tools sessions and stuff, but they put them on a drive that gets locked up.
Okay.
It's tangible, you know. What's crazy is that owning the masters grants rights and control over the use of the music and, most importantly, the revenue.
Yeah, it's like why Michael Jackson bought the Beatles masters.
Right. And we know what happens when something's valuable.
It gets
People want to steal it. So I think one of the most famous cases of this happened in 1986.
1986, okay.
There was this band, and they were getting ready to release like a highly anticipated first album.
Okay.
And what's wild and sort of unbelievable and unprecedented is that a rival band stole the masters and were going to release the album as their own.
Wait, what?
Yeah, it's insane.
So
the original band, they get this tip about the tapes. And so they're told, like, go to this mansion and you can get the tapes back. So they go, but all they find there is a note.
So wait, the whole band? Like they get in a van?
Whole band, yeah.
Okay.
And it says on the note, for really good tunes, the very best yet, check out the Storehouse and talk to Chubette. And they're like, what is even happening right now? And so the Storehouse, right? It's like this local kind of dive bar music venue.
I love that they're getting like a rhyming note.
No, and so they go there. They're like, where's Chubette?
Yeah.
And they're like all these gnarly biker dudes there. And
one of them
is
like,
Chubette? No, they're like, Chubette's not a person. That's the soda machine.
What?
Yeah. And like, it's a red herring, right? And so they all look at the machine. Another note. Folks, we got ourselves a good old-fashioned scavenger hunt.
Are you kidding
No, I'm
me?
serious.
Does the second note also
Yeah,
rhyme?
and I'm sure you figured out the band by now.
No,
it's
I
such a
got
classic piece of rock lore.
I've got 2 guesses.
Okay, well, things got desperate.
Uh-huh.
So they had to talk to all these shady characters because they got to get these tapes back.
Uh-huh.
And then it turns out the thieving band was storing the masters at their own recording studio.
Okay.
So the original band, they're able to get the masters back. They figured out they get them back. And as a big like F you to the thieves, they swapped them out with master tapes that had French lessons on them. No music. Okay. I'm telling you, they're iconic. So they go on to release their album as scheduled.
Can I guess who it is?
Rave reviews, instant classic. Do you know who that band was?
My guess is only because of the weirdness of it, like, and because you said rock. My original first guess, because of the year, was maybe the Beastie Boys, but I'm going to go with Guns N' Roses.
No, Zaron. It was Jem and the Holograms, the animated musical act from the Saturday morning cartoon.
Are you kidding me? How would I have possibly guessed Jem and the Holograms? They're a made-up cartoon band.
Zaron, this all went down who
was their rival band?
In search of I don't know, I can't remember the name of it. In search of the stolen album was the
right,
name
they
of
had
the
one on the
episode.
show. They had the rival band.
It was the 17th episode of the first season, which means it was the 17th episode ever overall of the Jem animated series.
Now this makes more sense why the whole band would get in a van and go to look for their stolen master tapes. Because I was trying to picture all these bands like load. All right, guys, let's get in there.
Get in the van.
They're all just like, got the drummer looking out the window.
I tell you this because when I was doing research and looking for cases of stolen master tapes, I stumbled upon a Jem wiki website.
Okay.
And it made me laugh.
Okay.
And then the website also triggered a bunch of virus warnings on my computer. So it's like, this has to be my kickoff, right?
Totally. So, I like that you set it up where it was like, their album was really low. People were looking forward to their debut album.
Right? Doesn't make
so I'm like,
sense.
who had a debut album in 86 that people would want?
Jem and the Holograms, man.
I think my guesses are pretty good for 86.
They were great guesses.
I figure you know music better than I do.
No,
so.
you and I have talked a few times before about using a fictional story. In my case, an episode of Father Brown, and in your case, one of the Fast and Furious movies.
Totally.
As like
or a
our
melange
crime
of them.
for an episode.
Totally.
Yeah.
See how long it takes before the other person's
It may still happen someday.
Really?
It would make the crime purists irate.
Yeah.
But I feel like real rude dudes would totally get down with it.
I think they would enjoy it. And also the moment when they figured it out, like at what point.
Exactly. So let me get into some real life thefts.
Okay. That is a real life theft. It's just with 2 E's.
Yes. So you just brought up earlier at the top of the episode John Lennon.
I did.
The Beatle, not a cartoon. John Winston
but he was a cartoon.
Lennon.
You
yeah, but
remember
like he existed.
Oh, okay. Now we're splitting hairs.
So at one time, the Beatles were the biggest pop rock band in the world.
Yes.
John, Paul McCartney, George Harrison, Ringo Starr.
Yes.
They influenced music and culture. Then things got messy. And after a decade together, they wanted to go their separate ways. Fans are devastated.
Ringo Starr was ascendant. No one could keep up.
Everyone's
They're
like,
he's the coolest one.
He's basically God. December 31st, 1970, Beatle Paul McCartney filed suit for the dissolution of the band's contractual relationship.
Oh, he was the one.
Yeah, and then there are all these like legal entanglements. It was dragging it all out, and it wasn't
break up Apple and all that.
Yeah, it wasn't made final until December 29th, 1974.
Is it Apple Records? Is that what it's called?
Apple Records. Yeah. Fun fact: John Lennon signed the paperwork terminating the partnership while he was on vacation with his family at Walt Disney World Resort in Florida.
Really?
I'm dead serious.
He killed the Beatles at Walt Disney World, making it no longer the happiest place on earth.
Yes, and then
for one day,
and they were like, in order to file this, you have to talk to Chubette. I can't believe I actually got through that without just losing it.
Totally. There's a post office at Epcot. You can go over there.
So things were messy for the band, but they were also personally messy for John Lennon. So by 1973, things are all over the place for him. He'd left the Beatles. He's separated from wife Yoko Ono. He was living primarily in Los Angeles.
Oh, on his lost year when he had the younger woman.
He called it the Lost Weekend.
Yes.
And he had Capitol Records breathing down his neck demanding an album. And not just any album, but an album of 1950s rock and roll covers that he'd promised them.
Oh, weird. My cousin Joshua used to tell me about this year. He read like all their books and biographies, and he was fascinated by this period of time.
It's a crazy time. Because see, like, here's what happened. John Lennon crossed a music publisher named Morris Levy, who said that the 1969 Beatles song Come Together, which had his authorship on it, unlawfully borrowed lyrics and phrasing from Chuck Berry's You Can't Catch Me.
Huh.
And Levy controlled those through his company Big Seven Music. So in 1973, rather than go to court, John Lennon agreed to a settlement requiring him to record at least 3 songs owned or controlled by Levy on this next album.
Okay.
So he'd be paying the debt through performance and mechanical royalties rather than cash.
It's like Willie Nelson's IRS tapes. If you work out a deal like, I'll record an album,
and
you profit.
And they're hoping like this may make me more cash than you could pay me
Sure,
out.
of course.
So Capitol Records was involved because they were the U.S. label contractually responsible for delivering John Lennon's next album.
Ah, gotcha.
So the Morris Levy settlement, it was structured around this whole obligation. So when John agrees to resolve the dispute by recording those songs, the understanding was that those records would be delivered to Capitol Records to satisfy Capitol's release schedule and their royalty accounting.
Got it.
So they're the like practical intermediary.
Yeah.
They need the album to fulfill the contract, got all that stuff set up. So for this project called Rock and Roll, John Lennon brought in a big dog, someone with the chops to make this a major release, someone special for something special. He brought in the creator of the Wall of Sound, Phil Spector.
Whoa.
So at the time, Phil Spector was one of the most important, influential producers in the biz.
Totally.
And Wall of Sound, if you're not familiar, is this recording and production style that takes the like rough immediacy of 1950s rock and roll and puts it on an orchestral scale. So examples are Be My Baby by the Ronettes, Do Ron Ron by the Crystals, such a good song, River Deep Mountain High, Ike and Tina Turner, You've Lost That Lovin' Feeling by the Righteous Brothers,
Totally.
Then He Kissed Me by the Crystals. Brian Wilson borrowed heavily from the technique for the Beach Boys album Pet Sounds.
I did too for just my normal fashion sense.
Same.
I'm like, this is a visual wall of sound.
It's a giant wall of sound. So Lennon had worked with Spector on his album Imagine in 1971.
Okay.
And on earlier Beatles projects. And so Spector, though, like he's got this reputation. He's intense. He's excessive. He's unpredictable.
He's got that crazy hair.
Everybody knows that. And he would become... It would come to a violent head decades later.
He was a shouter back then. You hear the stories.
But he does terrible things later. We won't talk about that.
I was skipping past that, Elizabeth.
But Lennon believed that Spector's immersion in early rock and roll would suit the covers album.
Completely.
Yeah. So the rock and roll sessions, they involved this rotating cast of musicians and a deliberately, shall we say, loose atmosphere, not structured at all. They recorded at a bunch of different studios in LA. Lennon later described the sessions as totally unfocused and basically drunk.
I was going to say, from what I understand, there was a lot of the drinking and the drugging.
Exactly. And he also added that Spector was both controlling and erratic.
Yes.
Which is a bad combo.
Which also fits him, from what we know of him.
Yeah. So at this stage, it was typical for a producer to handle or transport work tapes between studios. So Lennon, he assumed that Spector was like safeguarding the masters and all these session rules as part of the production process.
Sure.
There's no evidence that John Lennon signed over ownership of the tapes themselves. Beyond just like production authority, you can carry them.
You can move them over there.
So there they are, recording with a madman at the helm. The sessions got worse and worse and more turbulent. And then Phil Spector went radio silent. He ghosted everyone, even John Lennon.
Whoa.
And that ghost was the one with the master tapes and the session reels for rock and roll.
That Lennon knows like multiple groups, like both Capitol and then for the Levy.
So for Levy, so Lennon doesn't have access to the recordings that are necessary to complete the album that he has to get in. And his later accounts were like super blunt about this. He said repeatedly in a bunch of different interviews that Phil Spector stole the tapes and that he had taken them and then disappeared. And so there's no indication or proof that like he authorized, transfer of control. So what's Phil Spector up to?
And also, what's his move? Like, is he going to be like, I'm going to put these out in Canada?
I don't know.
Like,
I mean, he's just, he got into a serious car accident in LA.
Okay.
And then he used that as an excuse as to why he dropped off the radar. And it also added to like the mystery as to the possession of the tapes. Because he's like, you know what? I don't even know where they are.
My memory is not so good since the accident.
He didn't deny having them, but he was just like, it's just, everything's a mess, man. But without the tapes, Lennon couldn't complete rock and roll.
Yeah.
And Capitol Records, they wanted that album immediately. They wanted it yesterday.
He's got deadlines.
Yeah, but he didn't have the masters. There's nothing to cobble together, nothing to remix or overdub. No masters, no album. So rather than attempt to legally recover the tapes immediately or re-record everything from scratch, he pivoted. John Lennon went back to New York, started working on new original material.
So that's his move? Is like, I'll just make a new album?
Forget it, yeah. And so that led directly to the recording of his album Walls and Bridges in mid-1974. And so in interviews from 74 onward, he's like consistently talking about this being a theft. It's not a misunderstanding. And he was just like, this guy's not stable and I'm never working with him again. But despite all this like severe language, he didn't sue.
I should have listened to the Ronettes.
He used Capitol Records as a go-between. Seriously, though. This like hostage negotiator.
Oh, they got people.
And it should come as no surprise that the major label got what it wanted.
Yeah, I bet.
So
they probably just went right to the mob. Like, handle this.
By late 1974, they had the tapes.
Okay.
And it was never revealed exactly how they did it, but they had them. And
they knew a guy.
Yeah, and they have them. Spector doesn't have them. Lennon doesn't have them.
He never probably saw them again.
He still had to finish the album. He's contractually obligated. But like I said, he's never going to work with Spector again. Instead, he brings in this producer named Jack Douglas to finish Rock and Roll.
Okay.
And Douglas was a solid dude. He had actually been a songwriter on Robert F. Kennedy's 1964 senatorial campaign.
I was waiting to see how that sentence ended. I was like, Robert F. Kennedy's seminal album.
So was I. So back when political campaigns had songwriters
totally.
And folk musician ones at that.
Okay.
At the point that he joined the project, he had this really good reputation as this incredible sound engineer.
I do remember that album, Shamrocks and Chicken Pots. It was a really good one.
So good. So good.
With the Robert F. Kennedy singers.
And so Jack Douglas, he's this great sound engineer. He had already worked with John Lennon, and this was one of his first producing gigs.
Okay.
And so he got the recovered tapes, he remixed, he completed the album without Spector's involvement. The album, Rock and Roll, was released in February of 1975. Spector still got a production credit because of the work he'd done on the original stuff.
I'm sure legally they had to.
Yeah. The whole thing left John Lennon gun-shy about letting others control the recording sessions and the atmosphere. He just couldn't do chaos. He wanted structure, he wanted control, and he got really picky and meticulous. And that only stalled projects more and irritated the label.
Like, I want to work with David Bowie.
Yes, please.
That's the level of meticulous.
And Spector still got work. This didn't turn people off. Yeah. It was just like another tale, crazy Phil Spector.
That's the thing about records, the record industry. You can put a gun on the table in negotiations. People are like, well, he puts guns on the table.
He's a menace, but he can make a hit. Let's take a break. When we come back, I have more tape theft and antics for you.
Yeah.
Zaron.
Okay, Elizabeth, I got to ask you a question before you started going.
Yeah.
Okay. Have you listened to the Rock and Roll album by Lennon in 75?
I have not.
I'm not familiar with that one.
I feel like I've heard like maybe one or two tracks, but I don't think I've listened to the whole thing.
So now I'm curious to hear it. My cousin referenced that, as I told you at that time. He was really fascinated, and he's mentioned the album, and I've never really that I can think of sat down and listened to that whole album.
I never did like a deep dive on John Lennon.
He was not my favorite Beatle.
No. What? George Harrison.
Yeah, but remember I was saying like last episode about how you get a sense that a person is like. I always had that with him, whereas I never had that with.
He wasn't a good dude.
I had that actually with both him and McCartney, but I won't get into that about McCartney. But with Ringo and George Harrison, I'm like, they seem like they're pretty good guys.
George Harrison was a good dude.
Oh, he's the best of the bunch.
So I told you about John Lennon.
Yeah.
What about his better half?
What about his better half?
Not Yoko Ono, but rather Paul McCartney.
I thought you were going to say Sean Lennon.
No. We're sticking with the Beatles here. Paul McCartney.
Yes.
So around the time that John Lennon was having his doo-wop midlife crisis in LA,
Yes.
Paul McCartney...
Recounting his childhood.
Paul McCartney and his wife Linda were on their own adventure.
They're doing Wings at this point?
Yeah, they had a band called Wings. Paul had done a couple like truly solo projects, one-man stuff.
Yeah.
But now he and Linda had this band and they wanted to record an album. And Paul was like a little unsure about being in a band, what with like the emotional trauma of the Beatles behind him.
Yeah, I can see that.
But they'd already recorded a song that went on to be nominated for an Oscar, Live and Let Die.
Oh, right.
For the James Bond film with the same name. In the
Great
Oscars,
song.
oh, so good. They were up against All That Love Went to Waste from A Touch of Class,
Okay.
Love from Robin Hood, and You're So Nice to Be Around from Cinderella Liberty.
If you say so.
Have you ever heard of that movie?
No.
I hadn't heard of it. Here's the rundown. Quote, the film tells the story of a sailor who falls in love with a prostitute and becomes a surrogate father for her 10-year-old mixed-race son. The film stars James Caan, Marsha Mason, and Eli Wallach, and was produced and directed by Mark Rydell.
I like all of those actors.
It's this is the craziest
completely.
rundown.
I've never heard of it. And I love her.
But who won for Best Song at the 46th Oscars held in early 1974?
Fingers crossed, Cinderella Liberty.
I haven't mentioned the name of the song yet.
Oh.
Can you guess?
No.
The Way We Were from The Way We Were.
Of course.
Marvin Hamlish, you did it again, you old so-and-so. So, in the meantime...
You get Babs and Marvin together?
Right?
I mean, you're killing
Forget
it.
Get out of here. In late 1973, the McCartneys went to Lagos, Nigeria to record what would become one of the most famous albums of his post-Beatles career, the Wings album, Band on the Run.
Yes.
And the trip was meant to be like both bold and economical.
Okay.
And instead, it nearly derailed absolutely everything.
I imagine.
So Paul chose Nigeria in part because he wanted to get around British tax pressures.
So he didn't go to Kenya.
Yeah. In
Kenya.
part, he also wanted a fresh, non-London environment.
Okay.
So he selected Lagos as a recording destination because he looked through EMI's list of studios around the world, like Flip Flip.
I was wondering.
He wanted to change a scene, and he chose Africa for adventure, an entire continent, Africa. It's so British. So he booked time at EMI's Lagos studio, and he wanted like basic but workable facilities.
Okay.
And then at this point, Wings is just him, Linda, and this guy, Denny Lane.
See the drummer.
Two other members had quit right before they left for Nigeria.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So at this point, like the scene in Lagos was what could, as I said before, gently be described as difficult.
But also, that's a tough sell for getting a musician to join your band. You're like, do you want to be in Paul McCartney's new band? They're like,
yeah.
Is he kind of a has-been? Do I want to, like, if I'm a young up-and-coming
I don't
artist?
know. They're probably thinking it's great, but like, I don't know. It's
though.
messy.
Yeah.
So Nigeria is still dealing with the ramifications of a civil war.
I was going to say, this is like the real tough time in Nigeria's history.
Lagos has major infrastructure and like sanitation issues.
Oh, yeah. Mountains of trash. And like,
they're getting there in September, which is the beginning of monsoon season.
Oh, my goodness. Yeah. Right.
So the band, they fly from Gatwick to Lagos August 31st, 1973.
Gatwick. That's a heck of an airport.
I know, right? Paul and Linda brought their kids. Mm-hmm. From the jump, things didn't go according to plan.
No.
So the storms brought power issues.
I was going to say.
Logistics are in a tailspin.
Which is what you need when you're recording is power.
Zaron, close your eyes.
What? No. Okay, my eyes are closed.
I want you to picture it. It's Monday, September 17th, 1973. Night has fallen on the city of Lagos. You are a teenage boy out for a ride with your ne'er-do-well cousins, rumbling along the damp streets out looking for trouble. Or girls, or both. You have the window down in the back seat, letting the breeze dance across your skin. You're hoping the guys will want to stop for food soon. You're rather peckish, and you get irritable if you haven't eaten. You look down the street, you see two people leave a building and begin strolling along the sidewalk, a man and a woman. Your cousin, Adebayo, nods towards them and tells the group that the couple are leaving a recording studio. It belongs to Ginger Baker, he says, English rock drummer. He's close mates with Fela Kuti. Wow, you think Fela. The woman's got a large camera hanging around her neck and carries a rucksack on her shoulders. The guy's got a large tote bag on one shoulder and a duffel bag in his hand. Their sandals splash in puddles, the bottoms of their bell-bottom jeans blooming up in an ombre of muddy rainwater. The man whistles a tune and the lady hums along with him. Your cousin, Undubisi, pulls the car to the curb as he becomes level with the couple and calls out the open window. Need a ride? No thanks, the man says cheerily. Adebayo turns to you and tells you to stay in the car. Then he and your other cousins all pop out and surround the couple. Cousin Econ pulls a knife from his jacket pocket. You have got to be kidding me, you think. These idiots. Although it was pretty stupid of this couple to go strolling at night carrying all that stuff, Marks. The man and the woman raise their hands and say they don't want any trouble. You want to call out the window to them that you don't either. In a matter of moments, your cousins relieve the couple of all their bags. They toss the goods into the backseat with you, and then they all hop back in the car. The car peels away from the corner, and you look behind you. The couple look absolutely defeated. The woman bursts into tears, and the man comforts her. You lose sight of them as the car takes the corner at speed. You feel sick, a dark pit burning in your stomach. This is so wrong. Your cousins begin digging through the bags, looking for anything worth anything. They hand you the tote bag and tell you to go through it. It's just notebooks. From the duffel bag, your cousin produces a stack of reel-to-reel tapes. He shrugs and puts them back in the bag, mentioning that his friend has a band and may want to use them. Record over whatever junk is on there. The lady's backpack doesn't have much. It gets tossed out the window and into the gutter. You flip through the notebooks. It looks like poems or lyrics or just scribbled phrases. What do they say? Your cousin asks. You begin to read from the page in front of you. Well, the undertaker drew a heavy sigh, seeing no one else had come, and a bell was ringing in the village square for the rabbits on the run. Band on the run, band on the run, and the jailer man and Sailor Sam were searching everyone. That makes no sense, your cousin announces. He tells you to toss them out the window. You opt instead to shove a couple of the notebooks into the waistband of your pants and pull your shirt over the top. The rest of the books you push into the footwell beneath you. You keep thinking of that couple. In your mind, they became the jailer man and Sailor Sam, and you are the rabbit on the run. Okay, so...
Dude, jailer man and Sailor Sam... Is
whatever.
Some Paul McCartney-ass lyrics. It's just so
it's like that weird vaudevillian
the theater
like,
thing
goofy,
he does with the piano going, yes.
I just can't. So the thieves, they made off with the demo tapes that Paul had been using as working references for the album. Basically all the stuff they needed to put it together, and that includes the original demo of the song Band on the Run, from which you quoted in the car. So Paul and Linda, they're like rightfully traumatized by the experience. Not so much by like the threat of violence, but by the loss of their work.
Okay, yeah, I can imagine.
They'd been told, like, don't walk back to your hotel, get a car. Nah. And like, certainly don't parade along with cameras and bags and other items. And
looking like marks.
Yeah, you're flaunting your wealth in the face of like a desperate populace. A populace in desperation thanks in part to the actions of your country's boot on their necks for more than a century. It's a simplification, but crooks don't operate in nuance.
Yes.
Yeah. So.
Or in a vacuum.
No. So all that aside, they had immediate needs. Paul and Linda had to rebuild the album from memory. And obviously it's like this major setback. Have you ever lost notes on something you were writing and had to start from scratch?
Oh, God, yeah.
Like, especially something creative, not like research-based. Oh, my God.
It's the worst because you're trying to recover, and there's like a magic to the process, and you won't remember it exactly. No. So you're basically making a new thing.
Exactly. I had a poem I was working on, and I had this scrap of paper where I'd written all these notes and turns of phrases, and it was amazing. And then I lost the scrap of paper. I looked everywhere.
Oh, God.
And I tried to rebuild it from memory, but that was like a lost cause, and I was never able to recreate it. But you know what? Impermanence. The
Embrace
words were the sand in my mandala. Like I just had to let it go. So anyway, Band on the Run.
Yes.
They had to rebuild it. And like with John Lennon, they had contracts to fulfill. But luckily, okay, so there's only 3 of them at this point in the band.
Sure.
So they're more intimately involved in it, and they can kind of easily improvise and like quickly build it back up. But the robbery wasn't the only challenge. Paul was also confronted by local musicians, including members of Fela Kuti's circle.
Oh.
They accused him of exploiting African music by recording in Nigeria.
Oh, yes.
And he's like, I am not drawing on Nigerian music at all.
I'm not Paul Simoning you.
No, he's like, I'm doing my whole rock meets vaudeville thing. I promise you. Like, it's a big panto show. Don't worry about it. But it took its toll. And so the day after the mugging, another bad turn of events, Paul collapsed during a session at EMI Studios in Lagos. He was having trouble breathing. He had chest pain. And the engineer describes him like gasping for air. He fainted. Linda's like screaming, he's had a heart attack. They rush him to the hospital in a car. Everyone back at the studio is like waiting on pins and needles. Then they get a phone call. It wasn't a heart attack.
Anxiety?
It was a bronchial spasm.
Oh, I figured it was an anxiety attack.
Yeah, well, the bronchial spasms can be caused by like underlying conditions like asthma, irritants like allergens, chemicals, or by stress.
Stress, I was going to say.
Which is how I would diagnose
A lot
this.
of physical conditions can be triggered by stress.
Stress, dude. Stress can kill. It can lay you low. It can trigger all sorts of things.
It can turn your hair white.
Yes.
You ever seen people who get stressed and all of a sudden they have a streak of white in their hair or whatever?
Yes, well, most presidents, like by the end of their terms, they're gray.
Yeah.
We all need to take care of ourselves. We need to hydrate, get enough sleep, reduce stress.
I really focus on the reducing stress by just not really trying to be stressed about anything. And I'm telling you, it really works. Like, all the people I know, I'm like, I'm seeing how my don't get stressed is really working out.
That's good.
So I highly recommend it to everybody. I'm like,
don't get stressed.
I'm like, I don't even sleep well. I kind of eat okay, but really what I focus on is not getting stressed.
That's good. That's smart.
Clean living, Elizabeth.
So here's the good thing. Bronchial spasms.
Yeah.
An upside is that they're easily... looking for silver linings. They're easily treated with bronchodilators, like rescue inhalers.
Okay, yeah.
Relax the muscles, open the airways.
And when you say, are you talking with the dilators? Are you talking asthma things, or
the
amphetamines?
inhalers? No, like the inhalers, like.
Oh, okay. Because amphetamines were used for that.
But it goes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank
you. A couple of days later, September 22nd, 1973, the band left Lagos, headed back to London.
Band on the run.
Band literally on the run. When they got back, Paul's like, I think I don't want to do this whole project. Is it cursed? No. And he's like, but I must soldier on. So he sat down.
I also still don't want to pay my taxes.
Right. So how do I get around that? He starts rewriting the songs by recalling the melodies and the lyrics and the structures. Linda's like, let me help you. I can reconstruct some of the lyrics. What if we had the jailer man and the sailor Sam? And he's like, that sounds amazing. And she offered moral support. She's like, keep strong and carry on, or whatever it is.
Yeah.
What is it? Keep calm
and carry on.
Do you know that wasn't a poster in World War II?
Yeah, I thought it was something else.
It was. They printed them, and then it just didn't test right,
yeah.
and they destroyed almost all of them.
When did it actually then become a thing? In the 60s, 70s?
No, later on.
Later than that?
Yeah, they found
it.
Yeah, last year. It was decades later. They found one of the posters, and we're started slapping it when it showed up on all that stuff.
Yeah, because
mugs
they were still doing the stiff upper lip more than keep calm and carry on.
Yeah.
Although it was for the underground, when they were doing the bombing, right?
Yeah,
and
but they decided not to use them.
Yeah.
Anyway, so that's what she was like. Hey, buddy, keep calm, carry on. He's like, thank you so much. This is stressful, but we're going to get through this. So they had to restructure it.
Too blessed to be stressed, baby. We're going to do this.
He's like, guess what? We're going to let Jesus take the wheel.
That would be incredible.
What if he just went totally Jesus after this?
Had a Bob Dylan comes to Jesus period.
Oh, God. Everything became super lean.
Do you know that Bob Dylan for a while thought he was Jesus?
Yes.
Not only did he come to Jesus, he thought Jesus came and became him.
How do we know he was wrong?
And he also thought he had, I don't say thought, he believed, we'll just put it that he did a contract with the devil like Robert Johnson.
Again,
he has a really interesting spiritual connection.
How do we know he's wrong?
It's true. I'm open to believing anything.
So this new album, it's way more streamlined. Some of the songs get simplified. Basically, it was this was the best editing they could have. The Darlings got killed.
Wow.
And so the title track, Band on the Run, became more cinematic and like multi-section piece. Because it's like it feels like a couple songs
completely
put together.
It really shifts gears.
Way more than it had been originally planned. So despite everything, Band on the Run gets completed, finished in London, released in December of 1973.
Good job, Linda.
Massive critical and commercial success. Thank you, Linda. And it was widely regarded as like his strongest post-Beatles album.
Yeah, definitely.
So, it helped him, hone in, get through it, you're scared.
And also not become a has-been of like, he's still trying to make music.
Hit that inhaler and then, give me an A. So let's stop for some ads and when we come back, even more stolen tapes. Yeah. Zaron.
Elizabeth.
Zaron.
Can I say that I love that Fela Kuti's people are like, you are not coming down here exploiting our music.
Right?
I'm like,
so like
that
Ginger
is so...
Baker can do it, but you...
Well, he's a different
No, he was
character.
Different.
But yeah,
they were buddies. They were close pals.
I mean, they had very similar spirits.
They really did. God bless. When we left off, two members of the Beatles had been robbed in their own way of their hard work.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. I thought you were going to say like we got two more who've been robbed.
No, we hit two. It should relieve you to know that I have no more Beatles to terrorize.
Ah, okay.
George and Ringo, they get out unscathed.
Like I said, the good guys.
The good guys.
People are like, I'm not robbing Ringo.
But
who's going to rob Ringo?
I do have another pop music legend for you. Michael Jackson, everybody.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
He robbed the Beatles.
King of pop. He robbed the Beatles, so that's what... No.
Sorry.
So, pretty much one of the biggest cultural figures of the 20th century. Started as a kid in the Jackson 5, went on to become a worldwide sensation. He had highs and lows, accolades and scandals.
Yeah.
His death at the age of 50, this is interesting when I was just like kind of looking things up.
Sure.
It was 2009, total shock. Like, as you know, his doctor gave him this insane cocktail of drugs to help him sleep, and then he like got permanently asleep.
Yeah. Too deep asleep.
The news of his death basically broke the internet. It crashed all these huge websites.
I bet.
MTV went back to playing music videos again.
Wow.
Yeah. And then this is the wild part. His memorial was held on July 7th, 2009 at the Staples Center in LA.
Okay.
More than 1.6 million fans applied for the 8,750 available tickets to the memorial that were going to be drawn at random.
That's insane.
Yeah. The memorial service was one of the most watched events in streaming history. In the U.S. alone, viewership was just over 31 million.
That's like 1 in 10 Americans.
Yeah. Worldwide, it's estimated between 2.5 and 3 billion with a B people watched.
Wow.
Now, there were 6.8 billion people on the planet.
That's about almost half the population.
So it could be almost half of the humans on Earth watched his funeral.
Isn't
that crazy?
I don't know how I'm going to get my eyes back in my head.
They
are
like
so...
No,
for real.
Auga. Yeah, it's a lot.
Is nuts.
So, he was already an icon, but now he's a legend.
Yeah.
And like things tied to him became even more valuable.
I'm still blown away by
I know,
that.
Isn't that nuts? I was in the non-watching half of humanity.
Same. I mean, I had my time where I loved Michael, then I kind of fell away.
But I didn't watch his funeral.
No, I didn't ever come back after.
No. There's some things I don't forgive. So fast forward to late 2023.
Sure.
A New Jersey-based memorabilia auction house called Gotta Have Rock and Roll.
How do you find these places?
No, it was preparing a sale, right? It was going to be huge. They had more than 24 analog tapes that were described by the auction house as, quote, incredibly rare unreleased recordings by Michael Jackson. And so they were supposed to be from the 1994 recording sessions at New York's Hit Factory Studios. And the auction house's public framing emphasized collectability rather than exploitation, because they're like, we're just selling physical artifacts here. There's no copyright. You don't have the right to reproduce or distribute what's on them. And so they're thinking like each tape $4,000 a pop.
What?
I would think way more.
That is the craziest garage sale pricing I've ever heard.
No, of course they
listened to them? Like, was it really bad?
They're blank.
They're like,
this is not going to go smoothly, obviously. So the Jackson estate, they treated the appearance of the tapes on the market as presumptive evidence of wrongdoing.
Oh yeah, I'm sure his mom, if she would have been still alive, would have lost it.
Estate attorney Jonathan Steinsapper He sent a cease and desist letter November 29th, 2023, demanding that the auction house stop any efforts to sell the tapes, immediately return them, he says. The estate's position was that neither Michael Jackson nor Sony Music Entertainment ever sold or gave away master tapes from those Hit Factory sessions, or anywhere else for that matter. So any tapes on offer must be stolen or otherwise, taken without authorization.
Yeah.
And therefore, they're still property of the estate.
These weren't like tapes that somebody like had in their like Walkman that they hit record in their pocket.
These are masters.
Yeah.
So the situation is at like a standoff by early December. And the auction house, they didn't agree to the estate's demands.
What?
So the estate escalated from warning letters to court action.
Good luck with that.
They get this like superstar lawyer, Alex Spiro. He notifies the auction house that the estate intended to seek emergency relief in the New York Supreme Court, specifically a temporary restraining order and a preliminary injunction on December 13th.
Yeah.
So the message, like they're forcing their hand, right?
Yeah.
Remove the tapes voluntarily or we go to court. And it worked. So by Wednesday, December 13th, the tapes had been removed from the website, the auction house website. And at the same time, the broader sale continued and still included other Michael Jackson-related items.
Like ephemera?
Yes, but it made it really clear that this was about the tapes. They didn't care about the other random memorabilia.
Okay.
I couldn't find what happened to the tapes, but I'm assuming they just went back to the estate.
Probably, yeah. That's what I was guessing.
So there are other Michael Jackson tapes that are in dispute, although not outright theft, just interesting. In late 2024, a bunch of analog tapes got uncovered in an abandoned storage unit in the San Fernando Valley in Southern California.
That must be a great place to buy storage
Oh my
units.
God,
They come
totally,
up abandoned.
Yeah.
They do the storage wars type
Well,
stuff.
that's what happened. So the space got bought up at auction by this guy, Greg Musgrove, who was a 56-year-old former California Highway Patrol officer turned stay-at-home dad and, quote, avid treasure hunter.
Oh, Lord.
So the unit had once belonged to Brian Lauren, who was like this singer, songwriter, and producer who worked with Michael Jackson in the late 80s and the early 90s.
Okay.
So Musgrove, the
treasure
CHP
hunter?
guy,
Yes.
he starts sorting through all the contents and he stumbles on this collection of cassette and DAT, those digital audio tape recordings.
I use those.
There you go. That seemed like they contained 12 unreleased tracks recorded somewhere between 1989 and 1991. So this is before Michael Jackson's Dangerous era. So alongside complete songs, there are like snippets of other material. Stuff like Jackson and Lauren discussing the creative process during studio sessions. There's like this super rare behind the scenes glimpse into his studio work.
You can hear them talking on the mic and arguing about is that an F flat?
So then I like to like make it go like up. He's like, no, that sounds awesome. Really? Yeah. And then it's like I go like further up. And then it's, oh wow. I don't know who's saying which to which. So the tapes,
I love that's what you picture.
it's like the behind the scenes.
Totally, I get it.
So wait, when you're going like, do you want it to go like up? It's like, oh yeah,
Like,
that's a really good idea. Like up. Oh yeah, no, that's perfect. And again, I don't know which one is Michael saying this. Okay, so the tapes
Yes.
they had like so it has all these songs on there, like titles like Don't Believe It.
Okay.
7 Digits, which apparently was not a reference to phone numbers, reference to morgue identification numbers.
Oh, that's bleak.
He's like, yeah.
No, I got to ask.
Dark.
Did you know that morgue identification numbers had 7 digits?
No.
I'd never
but
heard
I'm kind
that.
of into that now.
I'm not going to forget it.
Exactly. And then Truth on Youth.
Oh, Lord.
I know. But it's a duet. And you know who the duet is with?
No, I don't want to know. Who is it with?
LL Cool J.
Whoa! Who doesn't he duet with?
There had
you know?
apparently been long-standing rumors of an unreleased collaboration between Michael Jackson and LL Cool J.
Yeah.
That was gossip to which I was not privy.
I just knew who it wasn't. I knew it wasn't Prince. I was like, I can tell you one person it ain't.
Paul McCartney. So fans and industry observers, they noted that some of the tracks on the discovered tapes like had been rumored in fan circles or like pieces had been leaked before, but some had like never even been heard of,
like
even within like
his duet with Huey Lewis.
The Huey Lewis.
Sans the news.
The Huey Lewis raps.
Yeah. I heard you in We Are the World, and I've wanted to work with you since then.
Yeah,
and teach you some goddamn music.
What if we just went up?
Have you ever seen his face when Huey starts singing in the We Are the World? Michael like loses it.
Oh yeah,
he starts. Yeah, it's
because
crazy.
Huey's amazing.
Yeah, that's what it is.
There's a ton of excitement around this fine, but like legal and rights issues limited the public's access to the music. So Musgrove and his attorney went to the Michael Jackson estate to like talk it over, and the estate is like, we're not going to buy them.
We're just going to take them.
And they said, you may own the physical DAT copies, but the estate retains the copyrights and master recordings in the vault. And so as a result, the tapes cannot be commercially released or publicly shared. And the contents will remain unheard by the broader public unless future legal arrangements and archival releases are made under estate control.
Oh,
so they exist and no one can hear them.
Ever hear them. And if we ever hear that someone heard them, we're going to come after you with some lawyers.
Exactly. And so find another storage facility, buddy. There it is.
Keep it moving, treasure hunter.
So we have the king of pop. What about the king of the hobos?
Who's the king of the hobos?
You like Tom Waits, right?
Oh, yes. You know I do. So, old rag and bone himself.
For those unfamiliar, Tom Waits is an American singer-songwriter, actor. He's known for like gritty character narratives.
Yeah.
He has a stylized Americana sound and that unmistakable gravelly vocal delivery.
Do you know that Heath Ledger based his Joker performance on Tom Waits's like an interview he did in the 70s?
Yes, it's incredible. So Tom Waits,
great choice is what I'm saying.
It's perfect.
No, Heath Ledger, I did love him.
He was a good dude.
He had every like good
genius.
instinct about him. Yeah.
Tom Waits.
Yes.
He had a long creative partnership with his lovely Irish wife, Kathleen Brennan.
Did not know that.
She became this like central collaborator as his music grew more and more experimental from like the 80s onward.
You know, his daughter, Tom Waits' daughter, went to Davis, your alma mater, and I had a friend who owned a record store there, and they always would see him come in, and he became friends essentially with Tom Waits because he came into the record store so much, and people would just leave him alone.
Nice.
So he would frequent a record store in Davis, Armadillo
crazy.
Armadillo Music.
Oh yeah, okay.
Shout out Armadillo.
Wow, that's awesome. So right there.
There you go.
Hometown hero. So by the early 2000s, Waits had developed this pattern of making like tightly controlled, self-contained projects, and then he would like go quiet for long periods of time.
Interesting.
And so that context matters for the album in question because it was not just like a stack of loose ideas.
Yeah.
It was the core recorded reference for this theater project called Alice.
Okay.
And Alice began as a stage work directed by Robert Wilson, produced for Hamburg's Thalia Theater in 1992.
Oh.
And it drew on the story world around Lewis Carroll and Alice Liddell.
Okay.
Waits said in an interview that the songs were written around 1992 or 1993 for this project. And this is the period when like working recordings and associated materials existed as tapes that could be carried around. So there's nothing digital. He described the songs as being, quote, all in a briefcase that was kept in the back of his car.
And you know it was like a banged up briefcase.
Oh, a banged up briefcase, probably in a banged up car.
Yeah, with like a belt wrapped around
a Dodge
it.
Dart, yeah. So he framed it as like a single physical cache of Alice material, not like a scattered set of backups. And he did this interview with the AV Club. And he said plainly that the briefcase containing the songs was stolen out of the back of my car. So that's not in question. What is not pinned down in that interview or anywhere else is the exact date, the exact city, whether the car was broken into at a specific venue or like neighborhood.
Yeah, it's just random chance.
He
Did
said
they know it was Tom Waits?
But he said the thieves ransomed the briefcase and that he paid a couple of grand to recover it.
Only a couple grand.
Yeah. He also describes like the cloak and dagger style drop arrangement as happening in a dark cafe.
He's like, look, I live a Tom Waits
He's
lifestyle.
Basically, yeah. And like he has these like hazy recollections of how the exchange was staged. It is the most Tom Waits crime exchange.
Somehow it involved like an empty can of tuna.
Here's the thing though. They were the masters, but Waits believes that the thieves copied the tapes, made bootlegs. Because by the time the official album emerged, the Alice material had been circulating as bootlegs for years.
Really?
Yeah, bootlegs that came out of those stolen masters.
Okay, yeah.
So they circulated for years because after recovering the masters, Waits went and misplaced them. So he paid a couple grand to get them back, and then he lost them. And then he hears about the bootlegs.
Did they really break into his car? Do you think he left it on top of the car and drove out of a parking lot and it just fell off the car?
So he's like, I can't find them. But then he hears about the bootlegs. So he goes on eBay and he bought a copy of the bootlegs to be like, what did it sound like again? And so
I'll work from that.
So then they're like, really, what happened? Well, I stuck him in a box and I just left him there for a while. Meanwhile, everyone's listening to the bootlegs. And it makes me wonder about poor Robert Wilson, who's like waiting on his theater production.
Totally.
So Waits, though, he made it up to him. He recorded another collaboration with him called Blood Money. And then he released Alice and Blood Money together in 2002. The whole affair is very Tom Waits hobo-esque underworld muttered flights of fancy.
Oh yeah, it just like it reeks
It's
of
sepia tone.
like hobo bindle, like just like
exactly. So I have one more for you.
Please.
Green Day.
Oh yeah.
East Bay Darlings.
Totally.
Pop punk rock 3-piece rock band. My brother knows them. I'm like 1 or 2 degrees of separation.
I'd say
from
you're
them.
one if you're your brother.
Well, yeah. So one time, I'm not sure if I've told this story here before. If so, forgive me. But one time I was at a warehouse party with a friend and we were playing foosball. And I got partnered up to play with the drummer, Trey.
Yeah, Trey, cool.
And we won the match and turned to each other to celebrate, and he chest bumped me.
Nice.
And like pushed me across there. It was awkward, but funny.
Yeah, no, it's cool.
Anyway, so they came on the scene in like the late 80s, early 90s. Their major label debut was 1994's Dookie. And that meant that they couldn't play Gilman anymore.
By the way, did you guys win?
Yeah, we totally won.
I was hoping that was the case
We
with
did.
the chest bump.
That's why.
Yeah,
we
it
were
wasn't just
celebrating.
like, the game is done.
Celebrate good times. Come on. We won. Yeah. Although I'm not very good. So it was a surprise. 924 Gilman, the Pump Club. That's where they started out, but they don't allow major label bands to play there.
Yeah.
So they couldn't play. Anyway.
And they didn't do like a whole, like, we'll make up a band, like we'll be like Beastie Boys or Quasar.
Well, they do not
They won't
sense.
allow that?
Not in that sense. No, they did side projects later on.
No, but they wouldn't, Gilman wouldn't allow that if they...
No, they're too sincere.
Okay.
Yeah. So by the early 2000s, Green Day, they're this like established major label band. They're playing arenas, all that stuff. They had pulled a few stylistic left turns. They evolved, they experimented, they explored. They explored each other's bodies.
I knew you were going to go
kidding.
there.
I know, I can't help it.
If it's not a leaky body thing, it's then
something
just going to
creepy.
be a weird body insinuation.
Something. So they released an album called Warning in 2000. And Warning wasn't really a punk album per se.
Yeah, I don't remember that one.
Although there are arguments to be made that they hadn't been making punk albums for a while.
One could say that.
It had a bunch of acoustic stuff. It was like a little more optimistic in the lyrics. Like they weren't mad at mom and dad.
Do you listen to it?
I've heard it, yeah.
No, but was it something that you would drive around listening to?
Not necessarily. Not in 2000.
Okay, I was just curious.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I was listening to different stuff then.
Of course, yes. You branched out.
Yeah.
Moved on.
I appreciate them. I wasn't ever like a huge fan.
Yeah, and I get that.
Yeah. So the album, Warning, didn't do so well. It was their first major label record to not go multi-platinum.
Oh, wow.
And from what I understand, though, they didn't care. They were happy with it.
Good for them.
But they knew they were at a crossroads. So both singer Billy Joe Armstrong and bass player Mike Dirnt, they had side projects that were more punk-oriented.
Okay.
Billy Joe had Pinhead Gunpowder. Mike had a band called The Frustrators, which included my friend Terry.
Nice.
And whose album has backing vocals by none other than living legend Sarah Tassioni.
Really? Your friend?
Oh, yeah. We go full circle here. But those bands allowed them to play Gilman.
So you're like 1 degree away from the Frustrators, too.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, wow.
Everything. So Green Day... They're like, we got to write a new album. Let's do this.
Totally.
So they brought in longtime producer Rob Cavallo, and they wanted like a quicker, more straightforward punk direction.
Okay.
And they called the working title for the album was Cigarettes and Valentines, which is such an early 2000s East Bay rock album title.
I was just about to say.
Anyway, so
way to just nail all of the nail right on its head.
Woo-wee. So recording sessions for the album took place like 2002, 2003. The project was like far along, and some said it was nearly complete, or at least like album length in scope. The songs were tracked and assembled at Studio 880 in Oakland.
That's theirs?
Yeah, well, Green Day would go on to buy the place in 2012 and rename it Jingletown Recording after the neighborhood it's in, and then they sold it a few years later. I think it's called Studio 880 again. I called my brother. He said the band has their own smaller studio now, but he refused to tell me where in Oakland it is.
Go on, Trav.
He's a solid guy.
Respect.
He was like, what do you want? Why? Why are you asking? I'm like, I was curious, man.
Punk solidarity.
So the band had everything tracked and assembled, and they fully expected the material to become their next official release.
Okay.
And the title track, Cigarettes and Valentines, which like it's such like a Murder City Devils type thing, which is one of the best bands in my opinion.
Yeah,
if you
I know
haven't
that.
heard them.
Yeah, I know you love them.
Anywho, so it was central to the project's identity, this title track. And sometime in 2003, the recordings disappeared. And the band has consistently said that the master recordings were stolen from the studio, which like it's Studio 880's in the cut.
Yeah.
It's in a bad neighborhood. But it's like, it's so fenced off. Like it's like a stronghold.
Razor wire, the whole bit.
Yeah, completely.
Yeah.
So public statements never identified a suspect, a precise date, the exact mechanism of the loss.
So possibly more of an insider than an outsider.
Right. What is clear from like multiple later interviews is that when they realized that the material was gone, they treated it as irretrievable. So they weren't like Gem and the Holograms, like, let's hunt this down. Whereas,
everyone
let
in the
me
van.
speak with Chibette. There's never been a confirmation of a police report. They never publicly detailed whether it involved physical tapes, hard drives, other storage.
Tom Waits.
The story, they just left it on the roof with Tom
Waits.
Waits and stuff. It entered Green Day lore simply as, quote, the album that got stolen. Like it's just referred to as that.
Okay. Kind of prosaic, but I'll go with it.
So the disappearance of the tapes set in motion like serious reassessment inside the band. So instead of attempting to re-record it from scratch like their Paul McCartney, they decided that
they had no Linda McCartney of their own.
There was no Linda. That was the problem. They decided that the loss was an opportunity to start over completely.
I like it.
And so in later interviews, they said that it was the stolen album was like competent but uninspiring. And then Billy Joe later has said it was just like this strange blessing to have it stolen. It forced them to abandon it, stuff that they no longer fully believed in.
Yeah.
So they started a new project. And that project became the rock opera American Idiot.
I was wondering.
Yeah, that timing. So they're free from like the gravitational pull of this lost album.
Yeah.
They develop a politically charged rock opera that redefined their career.
Totally. Gave them like a new point of view.
Exactly.
New relevance.
And so basically the theft of cigarettes and Valentines is like the best thing to ever happen to
Sounds like it.
The material itself has obviously never been officially released, and the full contents of Cigarettes and Valentines is unknown. The title song has come up in live performances, and it later was on a live album. So like some of it survived in memory or maybe alternative forms for them. And over the years, band members have like hinted that fragments or ideas from the abandoned sessions may have been recycled into later songs.
Okay.
Personally, I wonder if this is purely lore. Was there even a completed album? I've made some inquiries of insiders, some of my degrees of separation, but no one knows anything, which I find suspicious.
No one's heard talk. Huh?
I find it suspicious. So, Zaron, what's your ridiculous takeaway?
Well, to bring a full circle to one of your earlier points, I would say embrace impermanence, and good things, great things, possibly even genius can come about through that of embracing of impermanence, because that's all we are. So you're really just acknowledging the nature of existence. And as a creative person, you got to do that. And it'll ground you, ironically, in something that really lasts and matters. Yeah. So embrace impermanence. You lose something that's meant to be lost, that kind of thought.
Exactly.
What's yours, Elizabeth?
Same thing. I think that you can't hang on too tightly to stuff. And you're talking about like when you lose notes for things, there's a magic that can't be regained. But I think that being open to having something even better creatively coming along. And I think the Green Day one is the best example. So you have something that, like I was saying, sounded like all the other albums around at the time. Yeah. and then they get to totally reimagine it and change their course and change what they do.
Mm-hmm.
And, you got to respect that. I think it's a huge, brave thing to do too,
Yeah, totally agree.
So anyway, I think I need to talk back.
You look like you do.
I totally do.
Talk back. Oh my God, did he just say that?
OMG. Zaron, Elizabeth, thank you. That show with the love triangle with Frank Sinatra inspired me to talk to you guys. That was hilarious. One thing that I've been wanting to tell you guys, and I've been a bit hesitant because I hate that, is that you told the story about the boy in Melbourne who trashed, the party. That suburb was called Nary Warren. Just thought I'd say that. Anyway, thank you so much. Love the show. See you guys. Bye. I forgot to mention my name. It's Jeffrey, living in Melbourne as an expat. The guy with the message about Nary Warren and loving the love triangle with Frank Sinatra, Ava Gardner, and Howard Hughes. Thank you.
Jeffrey.
Well, thank you, expat Jeffrey. And I got to say, you will hear me do two things. Sometimes I will pronounce something correctly once and then later on mispronounce it later on in the very same episode. So sometimes it's just like I get excited and I'm just whatever. Other times I don't know how to pronounce it and I can't find something on YouTube or somewhere else that can tell me. And towns in Australia often happen to fall into that category. And then also, Jeffrey, if you are an expat, isn't it Melbourne?
Yeah, burn, Jeffrey.
Yeah.
Ooh, get him, Zaron.
I'm just kidding. I would never do that to you. But I'm glad that you enjoyed the episode. And thanks for the talk back. That's awesome, brother.
I can't say anything correctly.
I can't say anything
And
correctly
so it's
two
not
times in a
on
row.
purpose to hurt people's feelings, but also, my last name Dutton is so straightforward, and I get called Button and Sutton, and you know what? I don't care.
My name is Zaron. You better believe I've heard a million different ways. When people have to read it and they don't know what it is.
I can see them in the comments on Instagram.
I'm like,
no one knows how to spell your name.
It's just 5 letters, and it's very similar to other names you've said, like Aaron with a Z, but they're like Zaron, Zaron, Zaron. It's cool. It's fine. Whatever.
We're all trying the best we can. That's what I'm trying to say. That's it for today. You can find us online at ridiculouscrime.com. We're also at Ridiculous Crime on Blue Sky, on Instagram. We're on YouTube at Ridiculous Crime Pod. Email us, ridiculouscrime@gmail.com. Leave a talkback on the iHeart app. Please don't leave one to tell me I've said something wrong, because there was just too many.
Yeah, you can tell me.
You can tell him.
I don't mind, because I know who I am and how I am.
Reach out. Ridiculous Crime is hosted by Elizabeth Dutton and Zaron Burnett. Produced and edited by studio engineer for all the best Celine Dion records, Dave Kustin. Starring Annalise Rutger as Judith. Research is by Nigerian audio tape fence Marissa Brown and Tom Waits bootlegger Jabari Davis. The theme song is by load-bearing wall of sound mixers Thomas Lee and Travis Dutton. Post wardrobe is provided by Botany 500. Guest hair and makeup by Sparkleshot and Mr. Andre. Executive producers are Irate Studio head Ben Bolin and royalties calculator Noel Brown.
Ridiculous crime.
Say it one more time.
Ridiculous crime.
Ridiculous Crime is a production of iHeartRadio. For more podcasts from iHeartRadio, visit the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you listen to your favorite shows.